Hey everybody, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com to talk about the most underrated wrestlers in wrestling history. I put up a poll on NoDQ.com asking people for their thoughts, who they thought were the most underrated wrestlers in history. I got a lot of responses, so today I'm going to talk about some of those people. Do I agree? Do I disagree? Do I think they're underrated or not? Let's start off with a guy who was a big star in WWE a few years ago, but didn't reach that top level. I'm talking about John Morrison. I think that John Morrison was extremely talented in the ring. He did a lot of spectacular things in the ring. He had a great look to him. I think the one thing that was holding him back was his verbal skills. He wasn't all that good on the mic. I would actually say he was below average. And I think that that was the number one reason that WWE did not push him really hard. John Morrison has taken some time off from WWE. And I would love to see him get a second shot in WWE. I think that if he continues to work on his mic skills, I think he could be a main event player in WWE. I think he could be one of the best. So I definitely feel that he deserves the opportunity. Next up is a guy similar to John Morrison, Kofi Kingston. This is a guy that I felt really got an unfair deal in WWE. I think that Kofi Kingston should have been given a longer push. They started pushing him. They did the big angle at Madison Square Garden where he did the boom drop on Randy Orton in the stands, and then a month or two later they just gave up on him. They just dropped the push and he was back to the mid card. I think that that was a huge missed opportunity by WWE, and now it might be too late. He's been in the mid card for so long now. I don't know if fans would be able to take him seriously again. So I think that that's really unfortunate, and he's a guy that. He's always been really over with the fans, but he never got pushed quite to the level that other guys have gotten pushed at. All right, next up we have a guy that is an internet darling, and I'm talking about William Regal. He got among the most votes of anybody for being the most underrated wrestler, and some people even going as far to say that he should have been WWE champion or world champion. I'm not quite sure I can agree with that. I think William Regal is a tremendous technical wrestler, but to be honest, I never found him to be all that exciting in the ring. I think that he's technically good, but in the sports entertainment world of WWE, I think that he was lacking in overall personality and just in-ring charisma. And also, I think that he was better. I enjoyed William Regal the best when he was doing comedy, stuff with Chris Jericho urinating in his tea and his facial reaction. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I found the most entertaining out of him. Now, should he have been pushed a little bit harder? Maybe. I mean, they did push him as the king of the ring, and to be honest, it didn't really catch fire. And I think he ended up getting suspended, shortly after winning King of the Ring. So, if there's anybody to blame for his push being stopped, it would be him. But you know what? I do have a lot of respect for William Regal as a wrestler, and there's always a place for him, but I wouldn't call him the most underrated wrestler of all time. Definitely not. I wouldn't go that far. Next up is Shelton Benjamin, a guy who actually got the most votes for being the most underrated wrestler. I really enjoyed Shelton Benjamin's work. Once again, like Regal, he didn't light the world on fire in terms of personality and just having that charisma, but as far as just being a great technical wrestler and a great high flyer, I mean, Shelton Benjamin did a lot of really impressive things. One of my favorite moments at WrestleMania 21 when I was there in person was when he ran up the ladder. I thought that that was a really spectacular physical feat, and it was very impressive. I mean, doing stuff like that made him larger than life, because very few people could do those kind of athletic moves like him. And I feel that, in 2004 they were pushing him hard, and I feel they kind of dropped the ball with him. I mean, a friend of mine at the time was losing interest in WWE, and when Shelton Benjamin got pushed, he started paying attention. But then when Triple H beat him, he's like, this is exactly why I stopped watching WWE. So, they had an opportunity to make a new star in Shelton Benjamin, and I think that they missed that opportunity. Next up is Joe Henning, the son of Mr. Perfect. Here's a guy that I definitely feel has not gotten a push that he deserves. I mean, Joe Henning has a lot of talent and a lot of potential, and WWE gives him this complete idiotic name. I mean, it's horrible. Michael McGillicuddy. How can you market a guy with that name? It's just awful. And I hope at some point they bring him back as Joe Henning and let him have a chance to succeed. I mean, they never gave him much of a chance, especially with that name. And some of the other guys on here, Ted DiBiase Jr. And Cody Rhodes. When Legacy first started, I thought that Ted DiBiase Jr. was going to be a huge star. I thought that I saw him live at a Raw or SmackDown, one of those shows, and I was really impressed by him. And I think WWE dropped the ball with him. They tried to make him a copycat of his father, and I think that killed him. I think that they gave him this really bad entrance music, and it just ruined him. So I think that he got an unfair deal. Cody Rhodes is a guy that he's working his way up, and one day he may be a top superstar in WWE. I definitely think he has a lot of talent. I like the whole mustache thing, and I would call him underrated. I think he should continue to be pushed in WWE. Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, two high flyers. Everybody likes to list Tyson Kidd as one of the most underrated wrestlers. I think they could have done more with him. I think that with the whole Hart Foundation connection, they could have had Bret Hart come in and hit as his mentor, and they could have done more with Tyson Kidd. But they didn't really do a whole lot, and they could have done so much more with him. So I do feel that he was an underrated guy in WWE. And Justin Gabriel, I need to see more from him. I think that he is a very good high flyer, but I don't know what else he has to offer to the table. So I need to see more from him. Lance Storm. I think that Lance Storm was a guy that could have been pushed harder. I mean, when he was in WCW, they pushed him really hard. And I remember a match with him and Booker T. It was a great match. It had a ton of crowd heat. And I think Lance Storm did a really good job. And, he's a very good heel. But WWE turned him into a comedy character. So I think Lance Storm's another guy. Not a lot of personality. People. I think the boring chants. Steve Austin coming out and calling him boring, that ruined his career in WWE. In my opinion, I think that you don't want to call him out for being boring. But Lance Storm, when he was doing the whole "Can I be serious for a minute?" and just being the heel and beating everybody, I thought that was great stuff. A couple more names I wanted to mention real quick. Perry Saturn from the Radicals is a name that I saw a lot in the comments on Facebook. I thought Perry Saturn was perhaps the most overlooked member of the Radicals. Even Dean Malenko got more of a push in WWE. Perry Saturn was slapped with this moppy gimmick and basically a lower card comedy character in WWE, and I think he could have been more. I mean, he had some really good matches in ECW, and he had a lot of good matches in WCW as well. And he was a guy that I think got over more than his push. So I would definitely say Perry Saturn was underrated, and it's unfortunate that he didn't get more of an opportunity in WWE. And a couple of bigger names that are considered to be underrated. One name I noticed was Mr. Perfect, the father of Joe Henning, Kurt Henning. I don't think that he was underrated because I think a lot of people do highly rate him. And in WWE, I mean, he was one of the top heels. He was pushed hard. Yes, he was not WWE champion, but he was in an era where that was unlikely to happen. Hulk Hogan was the star of the company, and maybe they could have put it on Mr. Perfect instead of Sergeant Slaughter, but they were trying to capitalize on the whole Iraq War situation. So Mr. Perfect perhaps was just not in the right place at the right time. Maybe in a different era he would have been WWE champion, but I still think he had a great run in WWE and was a major superstar. So I don't think I would call him underrated. And then last name I want to talk about today is Cain. Some people feel he should have been WWE champion for a longer period. You know what? Maybe they could have done more with Cain, but Cain was one of the biggest stars in WWE during the Attitude Era and today. I mean, he has had a tremendous career. So I don't think I would call him underrated. I do think he could have had a longer WWE title reign, back in the late 90s, but at least he got to say he was WWE champion. So I mean, that's better than nothing, right? All right, that'll do it for my thoughts on the most underrated wrestlers in wrestling history. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment on YouTube, youtube.com/NODQCW. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Who else do you think is underrated? Let me know what you think. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest in WWE and TNA. Thanks for watching.